Whenever you're ready.
Alright, hey everybody, my name is Navi, and I'll be the first and second speaker today. Basically, I'm here to argue the point that in California, there should be mandatory notification for parents if their daughter is seeking to get an abortion, and here's the reason why. So essentially, these girls are minors, and as a minor, you aren't allowed to make any sort of major decision without notification of your parent. You can't. I remember one article said you can't even go and use a tanning bed without notifying your parent. So for them to get an abortion, which is like a major medical procedure, is definitely like recommended that their parents should be in the know about that. And here's why. So to start off, basically, parents. Like, there's no way that a daughter could go throughout the post-operation, just the complications of post-operations without their parents knowing. Basically, teens are known to have major issues after going through some sort of procedure similar to that. So basically, they don't have depression, they feel, basically, just the parents who know their daughter's undergone an abortion can more readily identify any post-procedure problems, such as an infection or hemorrhaging, two of the most common post-abortion complications. If caught early, both infection and hemorrhaging can be dealt with easily, but if ignored, either can lead to another complication, to serious complications or even death. So, because they're in the know, the parents can more easily help them throughout the process, mentally and physically. Because if she's keeping it from her parents, how she can tell them, that she's having hemorrhaging or some sort of serious infection internally. In addition to this, parents can decide for a sick child with medical procedures if she will undergo parents can decide for a sick child with which medical procedure she will undergo, whether to consent to treatment at all. The child who prefers to keep his swollen tonsils may have them forcibly removed if the parent agrees or on the advice of the physician. An overweight child who wants liposuction may be barred from the surgery by parents' refusal to consent. We generally presume parents will act on the best interest of their children in such matters. And this, I'd say that this philosophy, extends itself to abortion, because, like I said before, it's just a very costly and dangerous procedure. There's often many complications with it. And in addition to this, 71% of people in the U.S. agree with the idea that we should have these laws, protecting them from doing this without parental notification. National consensus in favor of parental involvement laws, notwithstanding the controversial nature of abortion laws more general. Here's a national. In the U.S., teen abortions account for 19% of all procedures of this nature. The average age for those receiving abortions is dropping from 19 to 17. Over 50% of abortions performed annually are women under the age of 25, with the ages of 18 and 19 accounting for the highest number performed. In addition to this, teens who abort are 2 to 4 times more likely to commit suicide than adults who abort, and the history of abortion is likely associated with adolescent suicidal thinking. And all these things would be more likely prevented with the help of a parent. In different states, these laws that have been used to notify parents have had a positive effect. In Massachusetts and in Illinois, the requirement for parental notification was associated with the decreasing number of abortions amongst minors. And delayed care for those from out of state increased parental awareness of pregnancy, and there's no changes in parental support. I guess many girls who are pregnant feel that they can't tell their parents, and that's the main issue with it. But in most situations, their support remains regardless. The reasons why teens may feel that they can't tell their parents is because they can't afford a baby, don't want anyone to know that she has sex or is pregnant, they don't want to be a single parent, her partner or parents want her to have the abortion. She didn't already become a parent, she's too mature to have a child, she's a survivor of rape or incest, or she or the fetus has a health problem. And either way, like, this isn't to discourage abortion, it's just to notify the parents that it's necessary for them to have one, because it's just a very dangerous procedure. And without their notification, things can often lead to death or the serious health complications. And well, from state to state, these laws vary, but usually the ones that have these laws that force parents to know 48 to 24 hours before an abortion is carried out, they have a reduced pregnancy rate, as well as a reduced abortion rate amongst teens, and it seemed to discourage them from having unprotected sex. So all in all, it seems to have a positive effect on the nation, and it's just, it does more good than harm.
So California already has a no parental involvement required for teens to get abortions, and California has had great success in reducing the teen pregnancy rates by 40% over the last 10 years, according to the LA Times. And also the fact that teens ages 16 through 17 already have the right to confidential health care, so there would be no need for parental involvement if they were to get an abortion anyways. And just because teens don't tell their parents doesn't necessarily mean that they're not telling anyone at all. According to the LA Times, more than 60% of teens and more than 90% of teens 14 and under already talk to parents, and almost all teens who don't involve a parent do involve another trusted adult. So even though the parents themselves may not know, the teens are already consulting with other adults about how best to handle the situation and what to do. And Women's Health Organization says that in states that have notification or consent laws of the parents, there has been an increase in unsafe, illegal back alley abortions because teens feel as if they can't go to their parents and tell them what they've done. So instead they choose to go another way to get rid of the baby without having to tell their parents or deal with the consequences of that. And also for the babies themselves, if their parents were to convince them to keep the baby, boys born to teen mothers are more likely to be incarcerated, and girls born to teen mothers are more likely to be teen mothers themselves. So parents forcing their children to keep the baby, though it may seem like the good decision because they may be against abortion, it can lead to trouble down the road for the child. And also the parental consent law, it would only work when the teen is going to get an abortion. But say the teen wanted to keep the baby, or if the child wanted to give up their baby for abortion, there are no state laws that require the minor's parent to take into consideration the minor's decision. So instead, the teen's body would just be under the control of their parent, and they would have no say in the situation if they had anything, or if they wanted anything different than their parents. And existing research shows that most minors 14 to 17 years of age are as competent as adults to provide consent to abortion. They're able to understand the risks and benefits of the options, and are able to make voluntary, rational, and independent decisions. So the parents being involved in the situation might help with comfort and with advice along the way. But as far as seeing the situation through, most minors already do that already. And as I've said, they already consult with adults about whether the decision is the right thing to do. And also, according to Harvard University, parental notification will delay the appropriate medical care, since most teens don't find out they're pregnant until into their first trimester. So the teen finding out they're pregnant and then having to face themselves to tell their parents, and then their parents deciding to get an abortion, it would increase the number of teenage births, because second trimester abortions are more dangerous if the parents don't decide to do the abortion once they find out that it's too late for it to be done safely. And no studies show that forced disclosure results in improved parent-child relationships, improved communication, or improved satisfaction with the decision about the pregnancy outcome. So for most teens, it could feel like it's more of a punishment, or it's more of a hassle, and it could lead to more drama than the abortion itself if their parents don't take the news as kindly and are not as supportive as they could be for their child.